All right, we're gonna go ahead and send this to the agency garage. There we go. So first up on our list, we have the Buffalo STX. Standard armor. Armor plating is available on this vehicle. One of the new features in the agency garage. I believe you might actually be able to do armor plating at any location. But yeah, new feature. We just got race brake options. Bumpers, we got stock, custom splitters, secondary, race splitters, secondary race, street splitters, secondary street, competition splitters, secondary competition. For the engine, we have a level 4 upgrade, standard run-of-the-mill exhaust. We got some angled exhausts, some single angle, medium bore, single medium, big bore, single bore, big bore, chrome side exits. Those are pretty unique to the car, pretty cool. For the hoods, we have a few stock, vent delete, front facing vent, muscle car hood, and the recessed hood. For the horn, that's just typical. Intercooler, pretty cool. You could do the custom badge on there. You could do Bravado logo. You got the pump. So intercooler options are always cool for street tech, tuner type builds on vehicles. And here we're getting into the good stuff. So we got the Imani Tech available on this car. So with this, you could do remote control unit or the missile lock-on jammer. Two brand new features. As far as I know, the missile lock-on is indefinite. You don't have to like periodically press it. You just cannot be locked onto ever. Lights, typical headlights, neon, liveries. So we got some blue racing stripes. We got red racing stripes. We got the Bravado stripes on the side. Red Bravado stripe. Fukaru alt. We have the Sprunk Racing, the Zero Gas Racing, Raga Rum Racing, Cerveza Gray. Pretty elegant. We got the Cerveza Red and the half camo. Which honestly, the half camo is pretty cool. I can't lie. For lost theft prevention, run-of-the-mill louvers. We got stock, custom louvers, and angled. You can do mirror customization, stock and carbon of choice, plate, typical run-of-the-mill plates, primary weapon, mounted machine guns. Now, thank God there's no tracking missiles. If tracking missiles were on these vehicles, it'd be too much. Like, it'd be getting much back into weaponized, militaristic style vehicles, but machine guns aren't horrible. Interesting. We also have proximity mines, but once again, non-lethal. These are slicks. They just merely spin people out or behind you. So some of the new options on these vehicles: respray. You could do the primary, the secondary, the trim, and crew emblem. Roll cage. You could do standard roll cage. You could do padded with carbon seats, padded with regular seats, I suppose. Race seats, street seats, and tuner seats all have options with the roll cage. For the roof, looks like there's quite a few options. We got the vortex generator, the double vortex gen, the carbon double vortex, the roof fin, carbon roof fin, double roof fin, carbon double roof fin, race scoop on the front, secondary race scoop, tuner scoop, secondary tuner scoop, competition scoop, and the competition scoop alt. Lots of roof options on the car. For skirts, we got race. We have secondary race, we got street skirt, and we've got the secondary street skirt. Not too bad, not too bad. For the spoilers, looks like we have stock, small lip, secondary small lip, medium lip, secondary medium, cut lip, secondary cut lip, small wing, race wing, tuner wing, street wing, medium wing, angled wing, big wing, chassis mounted wing, and all chassis mounted wings. So they just get bigger and bigger. Suspension, we've got stock through competition, pretty standard. Transmissions, pretty standard. Stock through race. Turbo is on the car, as always. Wheel type, so as far as the stock rims go on the car, looking pretty clean. Nice chrome style stock rims, not too shabby if you're going for a chrome style colored build. Those will do you well. And beyond that, we got window tinting all the way through limo, so very standard for this car. Agency garage. I'm just glad they gave us a garage big enough for this update to be able to fit all the new cars in, even with drip feed that comes. So for the Astron, we have standard armor, super brakes available, so one step beyond typical. For the bumper industry, we have stock bumper, secondary bumper, speed bumper, track bumper, secondary track bumper, rally bumper, secondary rally bumper, arc bumper, secondary arc bumper options. For the rear bumper, we have stock rear, speed bumper, the secondary speed bumper, the track bumper, the secondary track bumper, the rally bumper, secondary rally, arc bumper, and a secondary variation of that. Engine options, standard all the way through level 4. Exhaust options, we got stock titanium exhaust, split exhaust, round exhaust, angled exhaust, and racer exhaust. For the hoods, we have a stock hood, we got a bulge hood, secondary variation, carbon variation, arrow hood, secondary arrow, carbon arrow, racer hood, secondary version, carbon version, vented hood, secondary version, carbon version, GT hood, and its secondary and carbon counterparts. For the horn, nothing new. Lights, typical liveries. We have the red speed livery on here. Adds some nice touch to the top and the sides of the car. Actually a pretty clean one right there, can't lie. We got the yellow speed one, which is the same as the last livery in a yellow variation. We got the white Fister stripes, adds a bit to the sun strip and on the sides of the car. We got the black variation of those stripes. We've got the white Astron stripes, the black Astron stripes, the Katana green livery. This one's looking quite spicy. We got the Mind Mocked Topo Camo. Very busy. We got the Redwood 99, and to top it off, we got the Racer 53. Typical loss prevention mirrors. You can do secondary color or carbon alternatives if you prefer. For the plate, very standard. Respray, standard. You can do primary, secondary, no trim on this car. For the roof, we have a stock hood, a secondary roof, and a carbon roof. It is also worth noting there is a very large sunroof in the top of this car. So I don't know any other car that might have a sunroof that big in it. Roof spoilers. We have stock, we have primary color, we have secondary color, we have carbon color. We have an arc roof spoiler with a primary, secondary, alternative options to them. We have a racer roof spoiler with a secondary and carbon alternative option. We've got the track roof spoiler with a primary, secondary option. We have the GT roof spoiler that comes with a primary and secondary alternative as well. For the skirts, we have stock, secondary, arc, secondary for arc, racer and its secondary counterpart. We have rally and secondary version. We have the arrow and secondary version. And that's going to run all your skirts. For the spoiler, you can rock no spoiler. Looks like there's also a tailgate spoiler as well as a top rear window spoiler. So you can double up on the spoilers on here. We got the arc, the secondary variant, and the carbon variant of that. We have a track spoiler with a secondary and carbon counterpart. A race spoiler with secondary and carbon options. And that is your lower end spoiler on the vehicle. For sun strips, you can run primary, secondary, carbon, or none. Suspension drops down to sport, so not omega low. Tires do not camber on here, but it's an SUV. What would you expect? Super transmission option, going one further step beyond the typical turbo tuning available. For the wheels, stock rims. Not too bad on the car. Nice chrome option if you're wanting to go with something that matches that theme once again for this vehicle. And lastly, you have limo tint window options, so very typical. Lampadati Cinca Mia. As far as I know, there's also there's a vehicle workshop here too, so I should be able to customize cars in here. You shouldn't ever have to leave your agency for anything essentially. Vehicle wise, weapon wise, restocking snacks and or armor wise, all that stuff's here. So next vehicle on the list is the Cinca Mia. This one coming with standard armor upgrade, super option for the brakes. Front bumpers, we have a stock, a secondary stock, carbon stock, primary street with a secondary and carbon alternative, a primary bolt-on street with a secondary and carbon option, primary bolt-on racer splitter with a secondary and a carbon option, and lastly, a primary GT bolt-on splitter with a secondary and a carbon option. For rear bumpers, a little bit less. Black GT bumper, chrome GT bumper, a black GT bumper with fins, and a chrome GT bumper with the fins. Engine goes to level 4. Exhaust options, we have a single tip, a single chrome tip, a single carbon bore, a single oval. We got a dual split oval. We have a chrome box tipped exhaust, titanium box tipped exhaust, and a chrome angled oval exhaust. For the grill, there is a stock grill, a stock chrome grill, a billet grill, chrome billet, vertical bars, vertical chrome bars, inverted shark, inverted chrome shark. For the front hood, we have a whole bunch of options. We've got the stock, a secondary, and a carbon version of that. We have primary upper vented, secondary and carbon versions, primary vented, secondary and carbon versions, primary middle with a secondary and carbon option, primary intake with a secondary and a carbon option, a primary high performance with a secondary and carbon option for your hoods. Horn, standard lights, standard liveries. We have a white thick stripe, a black thick stripe, a white double stripe, black double race, faded purple, Lisa race, Lampadati race, Redwood race, Yogarishima half camo, and camo livery. Typical loss prevention mirrors, you can run stock, secondary, or carbon, whichever you please. Mudguard options, primary, secondary, black flaps, plate, standard, primary and secondary color options, no trim on this one. Roof, we have a stock roof, a primary stock roof, and a carbon option. We have a primary roof with vortex fins, a secondary roof with vortex fins, and a carbon version. We have a primary sports roof, secondary, and a carbon version. We have a primary roof bar, secondary roof bars, and carbon roof bars. Skirts, we have stock, primary, secondary versions of the stock. We have a carbon skirt as well. We have primary street, secondary street, carbon street, primary racing with a secondary and carbon option, primary sport with a secondary and carbon option, and a generic competition skirt as well as a chrome competition skirt. For spoilers, you can keep it clean, or you can go with a primary street lip, a secondary street lip, a black street lip, carbon street lip, primary ducktail, secondary version, and a black version, and a carbon version, primary low level, secondary low level, carbon low level, primary mid, secondary mid, carbon mid, primary high, secondary high, and a carbon high. Sun strips, you can go with none, or a primary, secondary, or black sun strip alternative option. Suspension drops down to sport, standard, or transmission. We can go all the way to super, one level beyond standard. For the turbo, it is available. For the wheels, the stock rims on this car. Another good chrome option, if that's what you're going for. And for the windows, limo smoke. All right, and then we'll order the Ignis here, and we'll drop this into the agency garage as well. So there we go. For the Ignis, we have standard run-of-the-mill armor. We have standard brakes. Front bumper options range from stock, carbon alternative, arc bumper, secondary arc bumper, carbon arc bumper, street bumper, secondary street, carbon street, race bumper, secondary race, carbon race, speed bumper, secondary speed, carbon speed, aero bumper, secondary aero bumper, aero MK2 bumper, secondary aero MK2 bumper. For the rear, we have stock, race, speed, stinger, aero, track, and GT options. On the engine, we have standard upgrade level. For the exhaust, we have stock, secondary, titanium tipped, angled, round, oval exhausts, performance exhausts, and that is it. For the hoods, we have a whole bunch of options: stock, racer, secondary racer, carbon racer, speed hood, secondary speed, carbon speed, vented hood, secondary vent, carbon vent, GT hood, secondary GT hood, carbon GT hood, XL vented, secondary XL vented, carbon XL vented, performance, secondary performance, and carbon performance hood. For the horns, standard lights, standard livery, we have a white stripe option, a black stripe option, triple stripes, arrow stripes, yellow flares, blue flares, viper green, piss wasser speed stripes, and Exorbio full racing livery. Louvers, we have stock, arrow, painted arrow, GT, painted GT, split, painted split, skid, painted skid, performance, painted performance, and that's all your louvers. For respray, you can do a primary and a secondary color. Not even a crew emblem on this one, nor interior. Skirts, stock skirt, GT skirt, carbon GT skirt, GT2 skirt, carbon GT2, street skirt, carbon street, racer skirts, carbon racer, performance skirts, carbon performance, aero skirts, and carbon aero skirts. Spoiler options range from no spoiler at all to speed spoiler, secondary speed spoiler, carbon speed spoiler, race spoiler, secondary race spoiler, carbon race spoiler, GT spoiler, secondary GT spoiler, carbon GT spoiler, GT2 spoiler, secondary GT2 spoiler, carbon GT2 spoiler, aero spoiler, secondary aero spoiler, carbon aero spoiler, and that's all your spoilers. Suspension drops down to street, so not very low at all, only 3 options. Transmission, we have race transmission. Turbo goes to turbo tuning. Wheel type for the stock rims, looking pretty nice. Doesn't look like these ones are chrome. Potentially it can be painted in the iFruit app if the vehicle shows up. Have to test that at a later date. And lastly, you can do limo tinting on your windows. Oh, we have trade price on this bitch. Let's order that right now. Gimme, gimme. Agency garage. For armor, we have 100% upgrade options. Armor plating is available on the vehicle. Brakes go all the way to super. Bumper options. For the front, we have stock, extended lip, performance splitter. For the rear bumpers, we have stock, painted accents, performance diffuser, and a drag diffuser. Canards, you can go with none, racing canards, or performance canards on the front. Engine options go all the way through level 4. Exhaust options, stock, titanium exhaust, or blast pipe exhaust. For the hood, you have stock and carbon options. Horn, standard, Imani Tech. Can do remote control or missile lock-on jammer for this vehicle. Lights, standard. Liveries, we have a white stripes option, a Dubachi stripes option, Los Santos tattoos option, Jackal Racing, Pisswasser race car, Hot Rod Flames purple, Douche gold, Ukaru Motorsport, Cartoon Motorsport, and that is all. Standard plates, standard lost theft, primary weapons, machine gun, mountable, slick mine, mountable, respray, primary, secondary, and trim options. Skirts, we have stock and carbon. Nothing more than that. For the spoilers, we have none. We have a sports wing, a low GT wing, race wing, and endurance wing. Sun strips, primary, secondary, carbon, none. Suspension drops all the way down to sport, standard. Transmission goes all the way through super, one level beyond standard. Turbo, tuning available. Wheel options for your stock rims. We have the nice looking fellows right here. There's a very similar style rim you can find in the track options if you want to paint these with a color that nearly matches the rims. For windows, limo tinting is available. Got this one. Let's do this next. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Deity. For armor options, 100% is available. Armor plating is accessible on the car. For the body trim, we have primary, secondary, and carbon trim. I believe a new customization option that we've never seen on a car before. Race brake options. Front bumper goes all the way from stock to secondary to carbon. Street skirt, secondary street, carbon street, racer kit, secondary racer, carbon racer, and that is all. Rear bumper has stock, secondary, carbon, aftermarket, secondary aftermarket, and carbon aftermarket. Engine goes through level 4. Exhaust, we have the stock, we have carbon, we have titanium and aluminum options of all the base variations. We have an oval, a carbon oval, a titanium oval, and an aluminum oval alternative exhaust option, and an infinity, carbon infinity, aluminum infinity, and titanium infinity exhaust options. For the grille, we have stock, chrome, primary pinstripe, secondary pinstripe, carbon pinstripe, chrome pinstripe, recessed grille, chrome recessed grille, slatted grille, carbon slatted grille, luxury grille, and carbon luxury grille. For the hoods, we have stock, carbon, primary pinstripe, secondary pinstripe, carbon pinstripe, chrome pinstripe, ridgeline hood, carbon ridgeline, inset, carbon inset, performance hood, carbon performance hood, vented hood, and carbon vented. Horn, standard options, Imani Tech available on the car, remote control accessibility, as well as missile lock-on jammers available. Lights, standard liveries. We have a red stripes livery, a white stripes, black deity, white deity, red pinstripe, white pinstripe, two-tone bigness, Cinca Nova, gold Cinca Nova, modern art, Her Majesty, and that is all. Typical loss prevention, plates, standard, primary weapons, machine gun mountable, proximity mines available for slicks on the back, resprays, primary, secondary, and trim color options available. For the roofs, we have a stock, a primary, secondary, and carbon version of the stock. We have a ridgeline roof, a secondary ridgeline, carbon ridgeline. We have an inset, secondary, and carbon versions of that as well. Skirts, stock, carbon, primary, secondary, carbon skirt, street skirt, carbon street skirt, carbon street, aftermarket, carbon aftermarket, aftermarket skirt, and carbon. And those are all your skirt options. Spoilers, we have none. Lip, secondary lip, carbon lip, flat ducktail, secondary flat ducktail, carbon flat ducktail, primary ducktail, secondary ducktail, carbon ducktail, street spoiler, secondary street, carbon street, GT, secondary GT, carbon wing, performance spoiler, secondary performance, and carbon performance spoiler. Suspension goes from stock all the way down to competition, so one extra choice than usual. You can really drop this car low. Transmission options go through race, turbo option is available, wheels, stock rims are of chrome option. Lastly, windows can be tinted. All right, so the Jubilee is ours, baby, at trade price. 1,237,000. Not too bad. 100% armor options available. Armor plating is available. For the brakes, they go through race options. Front bumper options include stock, secondary stock, rally stock, secondary rally, arc bumper, secondary arc, speed bumper, secondary speed, carbon speed, secondary carbon speed, track bumper, secondary track bumper, black track bumper, secondary black track bumper, race bumper, and secondary race bumper. Rear bumper options include stock, secondary, speed, secondary speed, race bumper, secondary race, track bumper, secondary track, track light bumper, secondary track light bumper. Engines go all the way through level 4. Exhaust includes stock exhaust, box exhausts, box racer exhausts, aftermarket exhaust, carbon aftermarket exhaust, oval racer exhaust, and oval chrome exhausts. Hoods include stock, secondary stock, carbon stock, primary middle intake, secondary middle intake, carbon middle intake, primary upper vented, secondary upper vented, carbon upper vented, primary high performance hood, secondary high performance, carbon high performance, primary speed hood, secondary speed, and carbon speed, performance hood, secondary performance, and lastly, carbon performance hood. Horns are standard, Imani Tech available, remote control, and missile lock on jammer, whichever of your choice you prefer. Lights, standard liveries. We have flames, graffiti, blue camo, Skull Island, Alcohola stripes, LS24 stripes, color stripes, black stripes, and white stripes. Typical loss theft prevention plates. Typical mounted machine guns are available on the vehicle. Proximity mine for slicks are available. Primary and secondary color sprays are optional on the car. No trim available. Skirts include stock, carbon performance, street skirts, carbon street, aftermarket skirt, carbon aftermarket skirt, primary trim skirt, primary carbon trim skirt, primary sports skirt, secondary sports skirt, primary carbon sports, secondary carbon sports, primary trim sports, secondary trim sports, primary carbon trim sports, secondary carbon trim sports, and that is all. Spoilers include the stock, a secondary option, and a carbon option. Suspension drops all the way to competition, one lower than standard. Pretty impressive for an SUV. Transmission includes all the way up through levels of race. Turbo is available. Stock wheels are a nice chrome SUV styled rim exclusive to only this vehicle. And lastly, windows can be limo tinted. All right, Jubilee, Astron, Cinca Mia, Champion, Deity. We got the Deity, the Ignis, and the Buffalo STX. Will I remember all these names? Absolutely not. We will forget them all again instantly, most likely. But at least our car collection is fully customized and complete. For now. Looks like we're gonna have a good few weeks at least of drip feed if they're doing one car a week. I think there's 10 more cars, 17 in total. So